So what's it like? I mean, he's sitting here by himself. The in-between, what you call this place, I don't know. The unsensible, sensible Jack Sense.
There's that.
So he's playing his guitar, and he virgins births 13 daughters.
13.
Now, how does that affect?
He does this. Okay.
I mean,
It wasn't easy. I'll tell you,
yeah.
it wasn't easy.
13. Was it like birth pains? Like birth pains? Did you feel
A
pain?
little bit like caramel between your teeth. You know, and you ain't got a pick. You're trying to do it with your tongue. You have to like melt it down a little bit. Meow! Meow!
Did you have calluses on your fingers at the time?
I had calluses on my tongue. What are you talking about? He's like purposefully ignoring me. He hears me. He's totally aware that I want his attention. He's just like, he won't even cast a look this way. He does barely twitch an ear.
Like he has a mind of his own?
He's going like, you will not control me. You know, you cannot. You think you can just call me?
Isn't that a lot like you?
Yeah, it's exactly like me. Orange short hair, son.
He's also a high priest for the Church of Mo Peace.
In Indian, that speaks volumes.
Okay, we're not in India.
They are
We're not in
they
India.
are a people of few words, but believe me, they get it all in.
Okay.
They just don't waste a lot of breath sharing it with you. Did I ever tell you the story of that walnut tree right there?
Why don't you tell it right now?
Want me to tell the walnut story?
It looks like there's two.
Well, actually, it does look like there's two, but in reality, that's just a single tree. And I know it's just a single tree because I planted it. I planted that tree, what is this year? 13, 82, 31. 31 years ago, I planted that tree. I had just bought the house that winter. And as cheap as I could be, I'd stolen back to the house that I had rented 3 houses up the street there for the previous 3 years.
You stole.
Well, I stole back to steal. It was a double steal.
It was yours.
I went back to steal my tulip bulbs. That's how cheap I was. I'd spent all my money buying the house, and now I need to steal tulip bulbs. When you got nothing, nothing can be attractive. Anyway, I went back and I digging up my tulip bulbs, and I'm pulling up out of the ground incidentally at some point what I think in my confused mind at the time is an ailanthus tree. This tree right here yonder. See the leaf pattern on it? How it has these long things with the little leaflets coming off of it. Compoundly pinnate is what that's called. Anyway, but I pull it up out of the ground thinking it's just a weed, because they are just a weed tree. And lo and behold, stuck to the bottom of this ailanthus I'm pulling out is a black walnut, clear as day can be. And sprouting out of the side of that black walnut, in addition to the stem that I've pulled up out of the ground, is another little shoot. Little rooty thing, but it's another shoot. And I think, well, that's 2. And I come up here and I plant that tree right over there 31 years ago. And this is what it's become. Look at that tree. Look how tall that tree went. For years it was reaching out to me in my bedroom window up there. Now it's too tall. Now it stoops down. My neighbors hate this tree because it's the messy making. You wouldn't believe the barrage of black walnuts and crap that comes down out of those tree. That tree, not those trees. That tree. I have looked and sought out for the past 31 years. I have sought out another occasion to encounter a more than single stem black walnut. I've looked every place I've went, and in no place have I ever yet in 31 years come across a black walnut that's anything other than a single stem. Now I know I don't have a solitary. I know I don't have a unique and only in the history of the universe. But I'll bet they're pretty rare. So I got kind of a rare double walnut that I love for being the rare double walnut that it is. But it makes a hell of a mess. My neighbors grumble and grit their teeth. Come every 2 years, because see, it only does this every other year. Walnuts being biennially flowering and fruiting. That's what it is, I suppose. Those walnuts are fruit. You think?
They are the squirrels.
The squirrels do battle with the walnuts. And they do battle with you with the walnuts. And it can be a bit hazardous in the right 3.5 week period to even stand out here, because you'll hear thunking on that deck. You'll hear ka-thunk, just banging on that, and you hear them thud. You're going, shit, getting out of here. I was sitting on that deck once. I'm playing my guitar, Harvey. I'm in that recliner chair I've got, and I'm like looking back and I'm playing, and all of a sudden, thunk, real loud, whang, walnut comes whacking down on that guitar. I'll tell you, scared me shitless. It did. And then I thought, oh my God, I've destroyed my instrument. Because it was like a hard enough whack that I thought, God, did that crack something? It didn't. But, man.
Can we see your wood shop?
Yeah.
Would you like to see Jack Sense's workshop?
Shall we start a fire?
Shall we develop some photographs?
That's what I used to do here.
Used to be a dark room here.
Used to be. Remember that? Remember
yeah.
that?
Love
Right
it.
down here, there's a big long sink. And then I had a color paper processor
Yeah.
right here. And I had that huge Durst enlarger that stood this high to the ground. Yeah.
Now,
Tell you what.
now you use digital.
Yeah, that's right. I do all of that. Well, what of it that I do?
I remember one time you said it's all going to go digital, Harvey, and I go, no, they'll never get rid of black and white film.
No, it's still there, but it's an anachronism. It's an artist's tool. It's like oil paints. I mean, same thing.
Yeah.
It may last centuries.
Well, some of these boxes you've been making.
These boxes. Okay. Being practically totally infirm, I have to occupy my time with something. So I piddle away at and I make wooden boxes. I'm looking for something. What is it? I'm looking for this. How do you know what it is I'm looking for? So I'm too cheap to like buy things for people. I'm thinking, why would I spend $16 on somebody when I could spend 46 hours making something with pennies worth of wood? Pennies.
Do you enjoy the work of it, though?
I better. 46 hours? Come on, man.
Is it a meditative piece, or is it a...
I
wish this was
It
over.
is a raging war the entire time. It's no meditative piece. Snap judgments. Could be life and death. Look at this. You telling me you don't think it could not be life and death? I'm not a religious person. But I tell you what, I get religion just before until just after every time I even plug in something like this. So in that period while the tool is plugged in, I'm a religious bigot. I'm as like fervent as you can be.
Why does religiosity go with bigotry?
We've been asking ourselves that question for millennia. Who knows? But there you go. I like the inexactitude of working with wood. And I like how flawed it is.
Yeah.
I like how it's, even if I were to try really hard, it would never be perfect.
Mm-hmm. And that
I'm
makes it...
more and more, I'm learning how to just let go and let it be what it needs to be, and what I can bring myself to do, because I'm afraid of half the things I'm doing. They're deadly. Dealing with saws and blades and sharp and fast and drills and I don't know, man. It scares the shit out of me. It does. But I'm somehow strangely compelled. So I do it anyway.
You're compelled to do
Yeah, and the
it?
only way I can overcome the fear is to like take on a religious fervor.
Okay.
That's the way that I can deal with the fear. There's a place for religion in everybody's life, even atheists like me. Got to have a little bit of religion. Come on, it's like saying no salt. Are you kidding? I've learned to do less of this sanding thing.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to take a little burr off of something here And all these surfaces have been sanded a little bit, but only just hand sanded with little sponge things that instead of, I'm trying to like not turn on the tools as much.
So are you seeing beauty in imperfection where
Oh yeah.
before?
No, I always kind of like felt that way about it, but I'm like more focused on it now. I always felt that way about it, that you should enjoy the flaws and things, the differences and stuff. I think. Maybe. What would you put in that? Did I point out that they're actually plant stands? There, stick a plant on top of that. That one doesn't work that way.
It's cool looking though.
Yeah, it's different. That's an old one.
So does that make it worse, less?
I go
if it's
through.
old?
I've gone through phases where I do different types of construction or different types of finishes. These days, I'm just into putting beeswax on little boxes and stuff like this. In the past, I used to put like shellac. And I might do that again in the future after I do this for a little while. But I've been liking beeswax.
May I taste this?
Yeah, you could taste the beeswax there too if you wanted to.
Is it edible?
They both are. You won't be able to get into that because you broke the cork. So there's that. I don't. You could.
That's all right. I just
think
was
about
curious.
it. You could just look at it and think about it. Or if you could find a way. I don't know. I've got some scissors there. There's an X-Acto knife and a screwdriver.
You got a corkscrew?
Not down here. I pee in that.
See, it's white.
I rinse it out, Harvey, but I can't say that I'd recommend savoring its bouquet.
Okay, shall we go to the thing that you make food in?
The thing that I make food in.
Kitchen?
The kitchen. Yeah. Sure. All right. Allons-y. You don't want to have the two going at the same time?
That is not.
What do you think, that I'm not capable of doing that?
More than how many things at once can you do?
Infinite. Or
Infinite?
Infinite number.
That's a lot of numbers to go by.
Infinite.
Can you give us an example?
Look at me right now. Don't you think? You like pomegranates?
Yeah.
Right there. Gracie de pomade the granites.
Freedom from their skin.
Garnets, that's what they are. Pomegranates. Oh, mighty fine.
Now we're in the outer dimension of the in-between. taking a look at Dave Jack
I'm
Sense.
going to show you something. You know what Gracie did the other day?
What?
Up here. She came home from school on a Friday afternoon. 13-year-old girl. You can imagine what she's like up to. Whatever sort of Miley Cyrus nonsense. She comes home and she spends the whole afternoon after school straightening the kitchen and doing this to the refrigerator. And I suppose it's only really capable of understanding what that is when you could have seen what it looked like before. What it looked like before was a solid wall of effluvia, stuffed. You couldn't place anything more in the fridge because it was just filled with crap. And she, on her own, without being asked, she spent 2 hours cleaning the kitchen and rearranging the refrigerator. I think she's sick. She also just participated in, let's see, what would be the name of this thing? The All-State Honors Choir. She had to audition and she was admitted. She passed the audition to be part of the All-State Honors Choir for 8th grade boys and girls. 14 students from Slauson, and all 14 made it into the honors choir. Makes you wonder what the standard was. No. They all excelled and they made it in. And this is the most exciting thing to her these days because she feels like she's starting off on her very own Glee adventure.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen an episode of Glee?
Try not to.
Yeah, you might run into it at some point. You'll see what I mean then. Was I going to cook something?
Talked about it, but we don't have to. That's fine.
Here, cook a pumpkin pie. Or just a quarter of one. There we go. You see how quick I am, Harvey? You see how quick? No, you didn't see. I'm so quick.
You ate the rest of it.
No, I baked it that way. It's a quarter pie. It gets a little crumbly sometimes when you're putting them together. Sometimes you just want a quarter pie. You want to have a slice of this?
Just a small slice.
Move that camera up and down, or like this. Okay. All right. Just this?
Yeah.
Like that? Sure. I captured that pumpkin. Wild and live. What do you think?
Tastes more like blueberry pie.
It's because I used blueberries. This part over here, it tastes like cherries. Lemon, right through there. And ginger mint. Ginger mint. Is that a good one?
Mm-hmm.
Ginger mint.
Like
Salvinus fontinalis. Brook trout. flaky, but crumbly. What do you think? I was striving for flaky, but I ended up with crumbly.
How'd you do that?
I'm remembering about 2 months after I got married in 1972, so it's about September of 72, and my wife, Jenny, has just made a pie. And it's like, really? A great pie? Some fruit pie, I forget what, but some blueberry or strawberry or rhubarb or something. And she's complaining, she's going, oh man, the crust is all flaky. And I remember going, what? Honey, you want it to be flaky. That's what everyone strives for. That's like one of the winning charms of what you've created here is the flakiness of the crust that you're bemoaning. I don't know, she must have come from some backwater culture that they like to have hard as rock crust, or rubbery crust, or gritty, sandy crust, or some other such abomination.
So do you have any messages for the chief of Mount Peace I can pass along?
Salve Linus, Fontinalis, the brook trout.
Very good.
I'm going to show you. Come. Salve Linus, Fontinalis, the brook trout. I go to the University of Metal Placards, painted metal placards. Most of the science that I've learned has come off of painted metal placards. Fortunately, I've got a lot of them. Victoria Fox is the artist. She sells her work at market on Saturdays, at the farmer's market. She's done so for at least 20 or 25 years, since forever. What do you think, Henry? Yeah, wag that tail. Henry climbed all over me all night long. He gets up with me every 2 hours to go pee. And then he and the cat, they're completely spoiled these days. They get fed every 2 hours, all through the night. So there's like 3 or 4 feedings after I go to bed. They love it. They love it. That turned out okay, didn't it? Oh, I'm sorry. This is Julie. Julie, this is Harvey, Phil. You want to sing a folk song, Harvey?
I could sing one of my own songs.
Okay.
Got my book downstairs.
Okay.
crazy way to live. It's a crazy way to live. It's a crazy way to live, and it's driving me out of my mind. I'm chasing your madness as you run out the door. I got a ton of black soot coming out of my floor. I haven't touched a vacuum in 52 weeks. Imagine my laziness when the faucet has a leak. It's a crazy way to live. A crazy way to live. It's a crazy way to live, and it's driving me out of my mind. I go over to your house just to have a little supper. You say, hey boy, who do you think I am, your mother? We go for a ride in your automobile, but when I try to grab your leg, you say, hey, what's the deal? It's a crazy way to live. It's a crazy way to live, and it's driving me out of my crazy way to live, and it's driving me out of my crazy way to live. It's just driving me out of my mind, my mind. You want to do one? Can't you do it in this?
I don't have any idea how to play in that tuning anymore.
Yeah.
I tried the other day. I was like completely lost. I kept like falling back into the thing I do all the time. And go, well, this doesn't work. It's like I've like lost that ability. Is that possible?
To lose an ability, yeah.
I did. I lost it. It's
But you
someplace,
gained a new one though in the
someplace
process.
around here. I
You
can't
gained a
find
new one
it.
in the process, so you lost.
Well, I got a new one and it shoved out the older one because there's only so much capacity here. I think, in my case, not everyone's as limited as me. Here we have to restore this to its spirit. Wanna be your lover, baby. Wanna be your man. Wanna be your lover, baby. I wanna be your man. 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 I wanna be your I wanna be your man. I wanna be your man. I wanna be your man. I wanna be your
Thanks for joining us here at the Jack Sense menagerie of life. What is it? A house? Is it a mansion? Is it an igloo? It's more than that. This is Zim saying nothing else. Have a good one.